Aloha everyone, my name is Saina Tomi. I'm the senior organizer of Samoa First Union.
Can you tell us about domestic violence in Samoa?
Domestic violence in Samoa, it's one of the toughest issues right now in our countries, especially during this time of the pandemic, as there's some increasing of domestic violence in our island. Due to some of difficulties that facing with families, especially some of family members or children's lay off from their jobs and ended up there's less income for the family and create some stress up, uh, like some fighting between parents and ended up domestic violence. So like I say, domestic violence is one of the toughest issues that we discuss in our island right now. And domestic violence is what I believe it's always start from a family.
What is it like in Samoa for people who are the victims of domestic violence?
Well, last 5 years ago, there are hardly strong people who can stand up and share with us or with other people's or organizations dealing with domestic violence, what they are facing in their family. But right now, there are some changes. There are some women who stand up. They are warriors and telling everyone what they're facing, like especially violence in family. So they share with us their stories about a lot of things that they're facing in their family, and that's encourage other who trying to hide uh, violence they're facing and make them talk. So yes, there's a changing that there are women who stand up, and there are also women that taking their own husband to the court due to domestic violence. So it's really good that they are now changing because most of them, like I said, 5 years ago, they hardly talk. They don't want their family to, people will point and they are that a shameful family due to the domestic violence issue. But there are some changing right now.
And has this changed in the last 5 years because there are organisations to support women?
Yes, of course. There's one of the most helpful organizations here in Samoa, called it Samoa Victim Support, the one that it's like a shelter for all victims of domestic violence, children's, also women's, and those are the ones under this shelter. And they create opportunities to turn from away from the bad, like facing domestic violence, and create new things for them, and changing their mind, like this is not the end of the world. They have other great things they will do in the future. So yeah, there are some organization. Also, there's a women National Council of Women who helping the women to understand, and it's really good to share with them violence they're facing in the family, and it will help them to deal with the issue of domestic violence in our island.
And what about at village level, Saina? What do villages do to support women who are victims of domestic violence?
Yes, there are also some villages, village right now, they create punishment for family or for whoever involving of domestic violence. It's one of the toughest issues that they will prioritize right now, but not all the village. But it's really good that we have village. They set example with other village, and that's where we understand. It's really good if there are some village that they stand up and starting this. So maybe in next 5 year, it will all village in our island will have the same rules with like those village who already have their punishment for people that do domestic violence.
Maybe the last thing, Saina, if you had 3 wishes to change the situation in Samoa and stop domestic violence, what would you do?
The first one is domestic violence issues should be something that need to discuss. It's prioritized in the family, in communities, in churches, in village, and also in the government. We should be in domestic violence should be in topics list of any agenda in any organization. So, and that will help to address this kind of issues to everywhere, to reach each sides of our islands, so people will aware about this the how bad if you having domestic violence in your family or even in your community. So that's one thing I wish to have. It's something that also the government should create a law, so it's can help to stop people, because if there's a law, people will stop and they think they were gonna throw in the jail if they're involving in domestic violence. Even I know there is a law, but they had to strengthen up that law so people will stop doing domestic violence. And then second, um, I think, like I said in the beginning of this interview, domestic violence it starts from family, from Ainga. So what I believe, Samoa, there is a culture in Samoa, women are the most respectful member of the family. And I want our country to go back on that, because that the men or the brothers should be respect their sister or any woman in the community. And that's where our forefather told us, woman, it's like a pulpit in your eye. You have to protect. If something wrong, if something touch your pulpit, you can't see. So it's like a woman's life. So if you harm your sister or any woman in community, her life will be in danger and it will lead into bad conditions. Like I said, it's something that our country or our island have to go back in our roots and our own culture. So the woman would be the most respectful member of the family or a community or a village. Mm. And then the third one, as in a union organizer, one of my wish is our government to lift the minimum wage. Like I said, this during the time of this pandemic, that's why we're facing a lot of domestic violence in family due to a lot of layoff workers and less income for the family, and ended up fighting in the family, especially the parents who provided for the family, and ended up the father punched the mother or even the children. So that's why it's better to live the minimum wage and they can spend a lot for their family things. I'm wearing orange because our island, if you're wearing orange, as it shows that you strongly against to domestic violence. You say no to domestic violence.